Well, hello and welcome to Talk Time. Now, this week, we'll be examining the health of the national economy to the extent that it affects importers and exporters. We'll be looking at the depreciating value of the cedi and the announcement by His Excellency the President that import duties will be reduced, and very, very soon. And if there's time, we'll probably also look at the impact of declining electricity supply to importers and exporters. Welcome to Talk Time.
I'm home. I'm coming to me. Oh, into that come honey, sir. Damn.
Tasso. So when you mean this will be a bit of a hanuma, can one carry an asset? A day, pay an answer. You remember,
Oh, what happened? Try me, maybe. What for cocoa bit? When it's blue, and answer, some legend. Young Casabe may say, what for cocoa capsules? A dray and upper two, and you minute two, and me a friend say, Calamity two, drop any, what ten of jum was seen to me, Yuma. When my draw way, was this in bed down, Amadeus or DM, what the
a drawing and ya ma a pin for, one warmer and manu for, and name Mofra when you fear do me.
Ghana Faja to Munti, cover 4 to the day say, Male.
Well, hello and welcome back to Talk Time. And as I indicated from the very beginning, we are taking a look at the state of the economy or aspects of the state of the economy and the extent to which they impact on imports and exports, the extent to which they affect importers and exporters. And we'll be looking at the promise that the President made in the United States of America that very soon his government will be reducing duties on imports. Are there any clues? What duties will be reduced and how would they be reduced and so on? We don't know. We would also be looking at what is being referred to as the new doomso, the decline in power supply and how that may or may not affect, importers and exporters. And of course, the depreciating value of the cedi. And it is our pleasure to receive in the studio Mr. Samson Asaki, who is the Executive Director of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. So you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
And Happy New Year.
Many happy returns.
I think in the beginning of the year we have probably if we have met not in Pan-African television.
Yeah.
I think I want to say a big good morning to your viewers and to your staff and management team for making Pan-African the best place. I'm told that the last time we had, I think a year ago, when we had a chat, I'm told it was all over the African countries and people were viewing it. And so that tells us that you are doing very well.
Thank you, sir.
We're hoping that you expand. The sky shouldn't be your limit.
Thank you, sir.
Exactly.
In any case, have you heard about the President's claim or promise that he's going to reduce import duties? Have you heard?
Yes, I've heard just like you have also heard. I'm so by courtesy of some media houses and social media, people will be monitoring or they're tracking the president wherever he is, and then whatever economic statement that he made. Of course, where I sit as the executive secretary, it should be our interest to punch holes, to push for further and better explanation about what the president is telling us, and so that we don't just take it in the face value and then should be jubilating, and maybe at the end of the day it might not come to meet our expectation as the way we are thinking. So yes, I've heard. I'm told he made this statement as part of his official tour in the United States of America, and so we are in Ghana here. The president hasn't met with the stakeholders to tell us that he have something good for us. So I'm hoping that whether upon his return or before he returned, they will have tell us. Of course, he's using the word soon, and not month, not years. strategically, we are going to election 2020. So the government has, we crying of the cost of doing business didn't just started yesterday or a week ago. I'm sure that you've been following 2017, their first meeting budget, which I applaud them when they said, oh, abolish our friends from Abosoka and their duties on spare parts. And I was excited. I was one of them when they said, oh, 1% special levy was going to abolish. I was so excited, and I placed their median budget for 2017. Down the line, that same year period, you remember, so we have to learn back from history. That same year, July or August thereabout, then they introduced the 3% flat rate, and they are saying that importers who pay their duties at the port and people as input VAT of 70.5%, when they're going to do sales, instead of to invoice at 70.5%, so that they can take the input VAT that they paid at the port, and the difference goes to government. Government say, no, you invoice at 3% and still bring the money to me. So there's like robbing Peter and paying Paul. That was why I changed I've taken a strong decision, or anytime this government tells us something, take it serious. I want to actually know what their meaning. They should better give it proper meaning. Because if you look at the 3% flat rate, in a nutshell, it was supposed to be given to small skills retailers. Like if you go out from this here, this shop, this studio, maybe we have a shop nearby, a neighborhood shop, and that person goes to Makola or Okansi and buy like 5 cartons and come to do retailing. Such a person cannot do input-output. So on the standardization VAT, he or she cannot do. But if they give him 3%, and maybe you're making sales of 500 a day, maybe in demand, probably let's say you're making like 3,000 Ghana cedis. They say bring us 3% of it. The person will cooperate, so it will expand. It will let a lot of them pay than the input output system. If you don't have a qualified accountant, you will not be able to do this proper input output. So that was how it was supposed to be for the smaller retailers. But when they introduced it and brought in importers and brought in wholesalers and brought in retailers, that was why you should realize that they've increased commodities like Guinness, Ghana, Accra Brewery, Coca-Cola, and others. They try to increase, because other than that, the person who bring the raw materials to them in the form of sugar, let's take it, if you are buying sugar as a commodity, the person had paid the duty at the port plus 70.5%. Now he's going to invoice to you at 70.5%. Government say no. So what he's going to do is that he has to find ways and means to increase his price so he can get his input tax that he paid at the port. So that has influenced the final analysis of the final product that you and I will consume. So you realize that very year, between August, September, and November, you realize that all of them have increased. So if you are buying Guinea like 5 cedis, you realize that it has become 6 cedis. If you are buying beer like 5 cedis, it has become 6 cedis. In the sense, the reason are because of the raw material they are buying to feed the factory to be able to produce. So the 3% actually hits all of our people. And so this is how I look at it. So in the face value, when they said especially we abolish, we're happy. When they say we are reversing the 70.5% from the smallest, that was the term they used. If you go and look at I think parliamentary hazard, you would have seen that the smallest businesses. Then at implementation, they said whether you're a wholesaler, retailer, or importer, you'll be part. So we need to, and then of course, my friend from Abosoka, when they said their duty were to be abolished, then they then come to implementation stage. And they say, okay, we want you to come and tell us which one should be termed as spare parts and which one should not be termed as spare parts. Whether a battery will be a spare part, whether a head tail will be a spare part, so whether a mirror will be a spare part. So at the end of the day, you go to Abosoka and you ask them, then it becomes insignificant. It's no more significant. They are not feeling it. You understand? And then there are other institutional charges at the port. So I think that on paper, you say we've abolished, but on practicality, it's not like that. So that is how I said, yes, it's a good thing, present thinking, and it should be an indictment of this government, I must say, without any fear of or favor, that this is the only government that we found the Council of State to be very courageous, go and meet the president in open with the media or with the full glare of the press and say the cost of doing business in the country is too bad. And so government should do something before the president is not telling it. So let's hope that he's taking the advice given to him by the Council of State serious, and he's coming to do something properly that will actually bring a better way of doing business in our country by reducing the cost that we are talking about. Because that associated cost, definitely at the final consumer level, you have to pay for it. And so that has been the challenge that we have been battling. And after talking about cost of doing business, you and I, anytime you hear me, I talk about the cost of doing business. So it is a welcome news. Let's hope that the soon will come tomorrow or tomorrow next, and we can now dive into the situation as to whether the area that they are reducing is actually relevant or irrelevant to us. I've also heard people agitating that or we should go on the duty-free port or whatever. I don't know which area he's considering. So let's wait to him to see where.
Before the president made this announcement, there had been reports of interactions between the Minister of Finance and importers and exporters and general traders and so on. And then we heard about the meetings with the Council of State and so on. In all of these discussions, what are your members expecting?
Well, you see, when you come to importers, we have divergent view in the sense that if you pick the confectionery importers, like those who bring biscuits, those who bring toffee, those who bring cooking oil, those who bring tomatoes, they will tell you their duty rate is 35% of frozen food importers per the ECOWAS economic tariff that was implemented in 2015. And so when they're paying to, let's say you bought goods worth $100,000, so you're paying 35% of the CI value. Then you then come to institutional charges. So in all, it's accumulative to like say 60% or 62 or 65%. That's the cost of doing business on that person. So you want to push that. Can we bring it back to the 20%? Get like our neighboring Ivory Coast is having. You understand? And that shouldn't be the only factor. The bank rate, the prime rate is 16%. I'm sure you're aware of the prime rate has been brought to 16%. But ask yourself that, has it reflected in the commercial banking sector? Does it reflect into reduction of interest rate? Our friends or counterparts in Cote d'Ivoire are borrowing at, I think, about 6 or 9% per annum. And so are we borrowing like that per annum? No. And so that is also another cost of doing business, mind you. You are talking about the city depreciation. Guess what we saw? And the government tried to say they were going to pump in money into the system. And now it has, I think it has brought like 5.1 or so thereabout. But the point is, if you ask me, I will tell you that will that sustain? Because is that a short-term measure or long-term measure? I'm looking at medium to long-term measures that government will want to put in place. The fact of the matter is that we need to export. We are not exporting so much. All what the government's attention is on the non-traditional, the traditional export. But the non-traditional export, we are doing little about it. And that is where our banana, our pineapple, our cocoyam, our yam, our millet, maybe rice, rice and other people. If there's budget, has there been continuous budget that for the next 5 years, we will allocate a budget specifically for the agri sector, for this sector. So we will develop it for 4 or 5 years. Well, it doesn't matter who comes to government tomorrow or tomorrow. You know, our election system is every 4 years. So maybe after 4 years, if maybe a different party take over, they'll have to concentrate on that this is a policy direction that rice in the next 10 years time. We don't want to go to Vietnam and bring rice, but we want to have our rice sufficient feeding ourselves, and the excess or the surplus we can't go for export. So when we develop the product like that for an export, then we will bring in the proceeds in, and that's forest proceeds, to be able to cushion our city depreciation. But if it's only government that will go and take syndicated loan, and when our city is running down, they will come and put it into the market. That's I can't take.
We'll come to the question of city devaluation. I'm just talking about your expectations.
Yes.
Now, this is an economy in which we are told that there's not enough tax revenue to pay for development. Now, if government is going to reduce import duties, taxes, and so on, how is government going to find the resources to develop the country?
Well, government can still make the resources. Why? The question why is that, is it prudent for government to maintain where the cost of doing business it is now, to only keep only a few people in the industry? Or will it be prudent for government to reduce and have more people go into that businesses or that field so that you can tax them? You don't need to do PhD in economics to be able to understand that. When you open it up, if people are going into that sector more, you can tax to make more money. Than if you say you are going to put it at where it is now, then I can tell you, people who used to bring like 100 containers in a month or 50 containers in a month or even a year has reduced. Like, if some would tell you for the past 2017 till they will tell you that I have not imported. Maybe what is the reason? The reason is that he cannot pay the duties. And I'm sure you heard the NDC minority members in parliament when they did about a week ago or 2 weeks ago when they did their the engagement. They invited the stakeholders, and somebody from Gutta says, is it Obashokan also says I used to pay, I did like 40,000 to clear, or is it 10,000, and suddenly it has moved to like 30,000 or 40,000. So you ask yourself, how can such a person still be in businesses? So I think that it will be good for government to reduce and to get more people into doing business, international business. Then you can get tax more, and then you can get your collect taxes and develop the country. And again, the question is, must it, if any time government needs revenue to develop the country, should it be only the port? Don't you have other areas to explore? Is it a lazy man way of thinking or what? I strongly believe that there are other areas that the government can tap in and can make some revenue collected. You guys go and look at our banking sector. Most of our banking sector or the financial sector are not owned by Ghanaians. And so every year, if they declare dividend, they expatriate. They repatriate the profit to their principals. And so you guys don't, when I say you guys, I mean you, the media people, and a seasoned journalist like you and your brother Kuku Bako and others, should be telling government that if at the end of the day this financial institution declare, you can name them, be it from the insurance sector, be it the banking sector, whatever, if they declared every dividend after tax every 31st, what happened? How do they send their principals dividends to them? And then now, it is when it's leaving, they don't pay. Maybe the bank charges that they might pay. But what about importer who change the dollar, go and buy goods, bring it back and pay it? So leaving, you pay something. Coming in, you pay duty. Who do government benefit more? This is where we don't always want to look at it. So I can tell you that if the people are making more benefit, good turnover from the communication companies, from the banking sector that has not belonged to Ghanaians. So I don't know if these people are shareholders of Ghana and we made a dividend, they want to stay here, then it will develop our economy. It will reduce our city depreciation. You understand? City will be appreciated. But if people have to change and send it out, we are all looking for a smaller dollar in the system. So depreciation will hit us.
Okay. Well, Mr. Asaki, now the president says that in less than 6 months, the reduction in these duties will be announced. What exactly are you expecting?
I am thinking broader because of where I sit. If you pick the institutional charges, fees and charges, sometimes you ask yourself whether are they also a revenue generation authority? Because if you go to the port, depending on what community you are clearing, maybe you need a permit or certificate from FDA, or you have to go to FDA and register a product. Then you go to Standards Authority, they say come and register with us. You pay 1,000 at the FDA. You come to Standards Authority, say pay 1,000. You go to EPA, they say pay 1,000. You go to maybe Plan Quarantine Division, they say pay this. You go to Veterinary, they say pay this. You go to Energy Commission, they say pay this. You go to Atomic Energy, they say pay this. So these are institutions working in the port. They are all having fees and charges. That alone is also a cost of doing business in this country. So it's like they are computing. There's competition in the system. If the FDA is charging or FDA is registering this at this, now even in flavors, you go to Standards Authority, maybe you are bringing 5 line items, and each has a different flavor. You have to pay to register for each different flavor and pay for each different flavor. You go to Standards Authority, the same thing they will charge you. So there has been so much duplications of charges and fees in the ports. So I think the government will have to look at this area and see those are relevant to be there and those are not irrelevant. They go. Of course, don't forget that some of these institutions, government give them subvention, call it subvention, right? Yeah, because in the budget, they make allocations for them. So why are you also charging these things? They give you allocation to be able to enable you to do your work, to perform your duties. And you come up with fees and charges. So these are the areas that we are talking about. We talk of 2% special levy. You remember the special levy that was about 1%. I told you a few minutes ago, it wasn't only 1%. We are having 3%, 1 and 2%. So the 2% is still running concurrently. I'm sure the president will definitely want to take it out. If you take it out, it will be nice. Now come back to the ECOWAS issue, where I told you our brothers at Africa is clearing at 20% import duty. We are paying 35%. Can they reduce it from 35 to 20%? When I see people saying that they're importing so much, and I ask them that, but do you talk about utility package for the manufacturers? Because those who are into manufacturing, if you meet them, they will tell you the cost. They will tell they can't afford the cost. They can't bear the cost. I am a manufacturer. I produce bread. If I tell you how much I spend for gas, if I tell you that flour has increased, sugar has increased, at the end of the day, the cost of getting your raw materials to your factory to produce, you will have no choice than to increase. And it shouldn't be like that. So government should be able to give a specific package to manufacturers to make them very comfortable, to make it say that if they produce it and the quality standard will be there, then you will not even, nobody will tell you, don't go and bring imported, because if you come already, it's what you are bringing. It is in the market, it's cheaper than what you are bringing. Because you cannot go and pay duty and come and lower your price. But what are we seeing? We are seeing people who live here to go and bring goods, pay the duties, come to the market, it's cheaper than the one that we produce in Ghana here. So what are we talking about? We are not talking about a government. Please give proper utility tariff to manufacturers. Encourage company owners there, that our people go there to buy and come and settle here and give great job. Get like the cargo tracking note, the CTN that we are fighting. The agents out there, if you Kwesi Pratt say you are bringing furniture or whatever to your company here, it's just one time import a container. They will tell you they are going to do CTN and they will take you $300 to $250.
Anyway, viewers, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I'd like to find out from Mr. Asaki, who is the Executive Director of the Importers and Exporters Association, what he makes of the falling value of the cedi and how that is generally impacting the business of his members. So, short break.
What's wrong?
They took all my precious stuff.
Did they harm you?
Just when they were about to, they hit the siren and bolted.
Scout the area. You don't have security cameras?
They stole everything.
I thought you used ghost cameras from security.
Security warehouse?
Yes, you should. They couldn't have gotten away the way they did without either being electrocuted or being caught on a CCTV camera.
Well, hello, welcome back to Talk Time, and in the chair is Mr. Samson Asaki, who is the Executive Director, Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. And we are talking generally about the general economic conditions. We've spoken extensively about the President's pledge to reduce duties on imports. Now, sir, the cedi has been playing tricks.
That's true.
What is happening to the cedi?
Well, to come to that, I'm here like the police officer who will be chief inspector, and you see inspector say, no, I'm a chief inspector. I am the executive secretary to Importers and Exporters Association. I have not changed my title yet.
Yeah.
So for the sake of viewers and people out there, I know others will be monitoring when you are going to play this cassette. And so they will say, so since when did Asaki have been upgraded to executive director? But anyway, it's get a designation name. It doesn't take the personality away. The point here is that I was just telling you how importers are feeling or are coping with this whole taxes and city depreciation. It was a very challenging, and that is why it was like a national conversation about 2 weeks ago. I'm sure you get like myself, you have the opportunity to go to media houses, and I'm sure they had put this before you guys to discuss. I think I watched you, and was it the former deputy information minister, Felix Kwesi, where you were on Metro TV, I think Good Morning Ghana also, yeah. I think everybody discussed this issue. It was a worrisome situation that even experts were saying that it was going to hit, before the year, it will hit 6 cities. But it was already 6 cities before they came to bring it to the 5.10. I don't know whether they will be able to sustain it or not. But I think that it's not the solution. And so, if you ask me, it was affecting our people because if they had cleared a goods, or if you had cleared a goods at the port, and you had paid a duty of, maybe let's take it, maybe customer using 4.7 or 5.1 for it to calculate your duties for you, and before you get to market, maybe you peg it that, okay, I'll do it maybe 6 cities, and you realize that less than 1 week, the dollar was hitting 6 cities. So if you were expecting your sales to be 5.7, meaning you cannot sustain, you cannot be in business. You have to go and borrow to add before you can go and bring same quantity of goods to the country. So it was a volatile situation, I must say. But thank God the government jumped in. But I think that the government should rather look at export area, because the government cannot sustain it. But we can only sustain it if we actually redirect our policy, our strength, and our energy towards the export economic driven. And that is to say that government should not just concentrate on the tradition, as I said earlier, but government should be able to identify. If you remember, when the last time I came here, we discussed about the Economic Partnership Agreement, the EPA, so I was so surprised when President came to Parliament and could not tell her that based on the Economic Partnership Agreement that was signed by his predecessor, because of his policy planning for job and food, right? We will be able to produce excess and sufficient. We have fed ourselves, and the supply we are exporting to AU market, and we are going to bring the proceeds very soon. This was what I was thinking the president would have told us. But the president came and told us that they were exporting to Ivory Coast and we were exporting to, is it Niger or Mali? I think that wasn't the best way, because what currency are we bringing back? So we should be talking of proper export packaging. And I'm so sad that when I heard, when this government came, they appointed a CEO and 2 deputies for forest, what do you call it? This organization, Ghana Export Promotion Authority. And you saw the issue that erupted there, and they were fired. And they brought another setup. But I'm told the same thing is happening there, you understand? They are fighting there again. Instead of them to look at ways and means to increase our export so that we can bring more proceeds into the country to be able to cushion our city depreciation. We are not rather, I've not seen the particular to say that Export Promotion Authority has made up that maybe our okra. Of course, we need to do studies to know that in AU there, what product do they need from Ghana? It's not everything that we produce that they want. Maybe they need more of our mango. Maybe they need more of our banana. Or maybe they need more of our cocoyam. Or maybe they need more of our sea butter. Or maybe they need more of our okra or pepper. So can we allocate budgetary allocation? Can we make budgetary allocation for our institutions like Ministry of Agric to take care of that crop growers, both the farmers, the input that they need to give them, the machinery that they need to give them, to make sure that we produce in large scales and we export. But we are not doing that.
But how is this affecting directly importers and exporters?
What is the effects is on not on the importer, but the effect is on the final consumer. Because whoever go through this difficult time, maybe I've sent $100,000 US. By the time I feel sales, I cannot even, my money is depreciated, the valueless. I will have to go to bank to get money to be able to top up before I can go back and bring another trip. What is going to happen is that he has to increase his goods. So you have no market control. You cannot, the government cannot, the central government cannot control the businessman not to increase. Because if he doesn't increase, then he cannot be in business. And that is why you go to the market today. And tomorrow, like you give your wife a feeding fee for the feeding for home, housekeeping money for the week, and the week hasn't ended, they come back to say, look, when I went to market, things have changed. It reflects in all sector. As soon as our city depreciated, when they increase fuel, you go and give 100 Ghana cedis today for fuel, they will not give you up to 20 liters. You know about that. It's about between 17 and 18 thereabout. So it has affected, it has a negative effect on all sectors of the economy, not only the importer alone.
Okay. So now the final consumer is paying the final price.
Everyone is paying, including myself.
Of course. That also means that the final consumer cannot purchase a lot more.
Of course, yes. Will
that not be a reflection?
That shows that so sometimes they are not happy to increase. But my brother, as I give you the scenario, it is clear that you are running on gen sets, right? So it's increasing your cost of doing businesses here. So at the end of the day, you cannot increase salaries. You want to increase, but you have to tell your staff that this is the reason why I cannot increase. Because the money that you have pushed,
everybody suffers as a result. Okay.
You understand? So for the importer to increase the price itself, he has to feel it himself. He knows, but the point is, the central government will have to do more, not the importer. They have to do more because you have to know that one, the whole year, how many times did you increase salaries? Even the cleaner at the ministries, the messenger, how many times have they increased? But how many times has things increased in the country?
Well, viewers, we're going to take another very short break here, and when we come back, we spend a couple of minutes to discuss the power situation, supply of electricity. We have been talking to Mr. Samson Asaki, who is the Executive Secretary of the Association of Importers and Exporters. Short break.
Yes, Dad. Everything has been installed. Yes. Okay. I will be fine, Dad.
Yeah, for this debate tonight.
You gotta keep long, go do the far job.
Charlie, high tech. She the lie bad go happen tonight. This are no fence.
They couldn't get in this time.
How come?
Security warehouse.
Smart choice.
I guess you have some footage for me there. Crystal clear picture. Pause. I think I know this man. He has a long history with robbery and rape. You are fortunate to have equipped your house with gadgets from Security Warehouse. Call it in. We'll begin the investigation from here.
Control, come over.
Yeah, welcome back to Talk Time, and we are talking to Mr. Samson Asaki, Executive Secretary of the Association of Importers and Exporters. Now, so we've been experiencing erratic power supplies for some time. Do you have any idea what is responsible for this situation?
Well, I still want to believe that I listened to the Minister of Energy when he came to Tema, right, where the Greco, around where they were talking about is it the pylon?
Yeah.
Yes, and they are talking about people trying to cut it, and I've asked yourself that, what is the motivator of somebody to do that? Because you yourself, you should know that if the power goes off, he doesn't know whether this is, but I heard he was quick to add that maybe it's a saboteurs, and I also heard Honorable John Jinapo also coming out to say the minister shouldn't have said that because this is a national issue. If there's doom show, it doesn't matter who's a MPP, NDC, and so I think it's a worrisome situation, especially to my people, as you are referring to, because if you are having frozen food in your cold store and there's erratic power fluctuation like this, you have to put on your genset. And I tell you, if you buy fuel today, how much is because the increase in the city depreciation, it has made the cost of fuel gone high, and so you have to buy. They have to spend so much money burning fuel in order to keep the room temperature so that the frozen food doesn't go wastage or doesn't spoil. So it's a cost. People have their warehouses. You cannot. The place cannot be dark. If you're going to pick rice in the warehouse or sugar in the warehouses, you have to make sure that you have plans and you have a plan that will be running until when the power is back. So there's a dire consequence effect on the Ghanaian public, and then so importers for that matter, those who run into big cool stores and those who run into warehouses are all. So it's even a cost now, and so they will have to pass it on to the final consumer, because you have to maintain it. You have to make sure you have that room temperature, and so if you are spending so much to keep it, it will influence in the price in the market.
Do you have any ideas about how this problem can be solved?
Well, I don't want to intend. I am not an electrical engineer. I am also not an expert in energy, but I still think that are we having gas problem or what? Is there Atuabo gas not supplying? Is it true that the VRA owes Atuabo gas to the tune of billions of dollars that they are not paying them? And so government, the backstop at government will have to be able to balance so that there will be peace and they can supply. If there's problem at Atuabo gas, they should be able to feel free to tell us that there's a problem and this is a problem we want to rectify. I think Ghanaians, it's good for government to speak the truth to Ghanaians than to play in politics with it. I don't think this power fluctuation has something to do with that pylon issue that they were.
One pylon cannot be responsible for.
Exactly. And so I was even told that pylon was on the car power. It was on the car power lines are on it. So I don't think that will erupted to this. I'm sure there's a problem somewhere that has to do with supply of maybe probably gas or whatever to be able to feed it. Other levels of water, we are not talking about, nobody's talking about Akosombo levels of water, or maybe Akosombo, how many machines is it running now? Maybe have they shut down some of the machines? Are they doing maintenance? Government should be able, the energy ministry should be able to come out and tell us something better. I don't think we cannot use the one pylon to overshadow the whole thing. There is a need problem, and I think they need to let Ghanaians become aware. So if they have to take them 6 months to fix it or 3 months to fix it, they should be able to come out to say it as it is, but they shouldn't play politics with it. This is, you cannot use politics. They see like Bawa will tell President Mahama that if you think that the economic is the fundamental of failure, your city will, the city depreciation will expose you. So that has been, Ghana, that's Ghana for you. I mean, we are trying to stay away from politics because of, we have them from all divide. We have business people from all divide who we are working with. So we've chosen our words very carefully, yeah.
Now, sir, the importers and exporters are the very center of the national economy. What is your assessment of the national economy now?
Well, if I call big companies, even companies that we know that they normally give us support funds to be able to, the Import and Export Association is a non-profit organization. We need to have budget that we can help making the staff and myself afloat to be going to come here, and we have to drive to this place. You have to buy fuel and stuff like that. So you see a big company, the name, if I mention the company, then they will tell you we are suffering. Then you ask yourself, what is happening? But we see, I understand, because some of them are doing services and sales. And so, like if you take a car to Rana Motors, I'm using Rana Motors as an example, and you are going to service your car, the invoice you are 17.5%. But if you are going to buy, it's 3%. So at the end of the day, there are books, there are problems in their accounting. Since government is eating into their profit more, So instead of them to government to make sure that they can expand, reinvest and expand for government to tax, you see, instead of people expanding, you see people trying to even close down certain departments. And it's creating unemployment factor. But Kwesi, I will not be on your platform and go without talking about the Meridian Port Service. I don't know whether if you've been following.
Not really, but
good. And I think it should be a concern to a seasoned journalist like yourself and your other colleagues should be able to find out from government what is the government thinking, because our port is our national asset. And as we speak, come July this year, the Meridian Port will start operating their first terminal, which we call it Terminal 3. And if you come to the maritime industry, we have Ghanaians operating companies, we call them stevedoring. I don't know if you heard of any stevedoring company and what are the activities of stevedoring companies. Now, per the contract that was signed for MPS to execute, there's a contract given to a company called Ghana Link, that wherever our goods are coming into this country or goods are leaving this country, whether through sea, through air, or by route, it should go through scan. And so the scanner contract has been given to a Ghanaian company. The MPS expand the port, will be clearing there direct to go. The scanners, they said they will not allow the Ghanaian company to go install scanners there. Why? Because those money, they want to keep those money and repatriate. They don't want the money to stay in Ghana. Stevedoring work, if you go to GPHA, we have about 20-something stevedoring work companies. I think 5 or 6 are in Takora, the rest are in Tema Port, because the Tema is the biggest port. The stevedoring work, MPS comes operational July. Per the contract says that come July, all vessels that are bringing containers into this country should go through MPS or subed at MPS. Meaning GPHA itself would have no job to be done, because GPHA will now be handling liner cargoes. But if you look at our imports that comes to this country, more is in the container form. They used to bring rice with the open vessel, you know that. They used to bring rice, sugar with the open vessel, you know that. Now sugar is being put into containers. Rice is being put into containers. So majority of our import is not into containerized form. So the liner cargo is when you see a whole ship load with sugar, or bring roro, cars, or bring steel, iron to the country. That is what the GPHO will now left onto. But the containerized cargo vessels will all go to MPS. And so MPS is saying that they are going to do stevedoring on their own. They are going to do shore handling on their own. And I think that my heart bleeds. I think that MPS should not do stevedoring in this country. Because if you go to Africa, even Africa here, if you are a Ghanaian, you go to Africa, Togo, they won't even allow you to go to the port and clear any good. You know that. There are certain jobs surely for the indigenous.
So Meridian Port Services is not a Ghanaian company?
No.
Where is it from?
Where it's coming from, I've forgotten the country, but it's an investment.
Okay.
There are investors that come together. Okay, they get like Bolari Group, what group, they come together, you understand, to do the port expansion. So automatically, they are not Ghanaians. The GPJ was having 30%. I think they have reduced the GPJ shares to like about 20% or so. All right. If you look at the royalties that GPJ used to get, port dues and that is, all will be going to MPS. And that's why we heard GPJ threaten that they will lay about 1,400 workers come next year, because they can no longer, their wage can no longer carry the number of employees that they are having there. But my problem is not about even they get laying of their workers. My problem is about this certain jobs in the maritime industry should be given to Ghanaians. Hence, MPS should not be allowed to do stevedoring when they are stevedoring licensed Ghanaian companies. MPS should not install the scanners when it's giving that contract to Ghanaians, so those money will stay here. MPS should not do shore handling when Ghanaians are competent to do shore handling. Certain jobs must be given. And that virtually we are giving everything to the foreigners, and we become foreign dominated. We are not saying we don't want investors coming from foreign countries, but such type of investment is, we should not entertain it. If you go to the oil sector, there are certain jobs like clear guidelines as to what is the local content talk about. So in the maritime sector, we need the government need to step down its foot before July come. I don't know. I was even telling clearing agent that I won't be surprised tomorrow MPO will say that they won't allow any agent to enter their yard. So for that matter, they will establish a department to do clearing, to drop boxes to their customers. So they are taking your job.
Anyway, thank you very much for coming to the studio.
Thank you very much for having me, my brother. Thank
well,
you very
viewers,
much.
we've been
It's
talking
always an opportunity to be here to say our views about what is happening.
Well, we always enjoy having you here.
Thank you very much, my brother.
So, viewers, we've been talking to Mr. Samson Asaki, who is the Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. We've been talking largely about the state of the economy. We focus attention on the cedi, which has been losing value. We focus attention on power curtailment and also the promise by the president that very soon import duties will be reduced. Hope that all of us have learned a thing or two, and on behalf of Pan-African Television, especially our producer, director, Edem Lumo, cameraman, and everybody would like to say goodbye to you until we meet again next week. Bye-bye.